Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond Pixels. Sorry, we're running a little bit late today. We've had some technical difficulties. My name is Dan Barry, and I'm based in LA.
And my name is Nodo, and finally, I'm also based in LA. And Beyond Pixel's goal is to provide brands and marketers with innovative insights around the Web3, the Metaverse, and the social gaming. And today's show ticks all three of those boxes. Even though we had some technical challenges in the beginning, I'm sure we're going to be having amazing information shared to our listeners. Back to you, Dan.
Okay, so if you are at all focused on the Sandbox, today's show is a show that you're really going to enjoy. On the show today, we have Dr. Loretta Chen, who is the co-founder and CEO of Smobler Studios, which is one of the leading studios building on the Sandbox. Not here yet, and I did indicate we had some technical problems, and so we're still working on getting Sebastien Borget, co-founder and COO of The Sandbox, onto the show, but he'll be with us momentarily. Personally, I've been involved with following The Sandbox almost from its early days, so I've been an avid follower, but when I met Nodo, I found out he's been involved even longer than me and on a much deeper level.
Yep. Then, Lion, this show is so much personal and emotional for me because my journey in Web3 started with Sandbox when I bought my first land 3 years ago, and then actually started developing MetaView onto the Sandbox. Also connected with amazing creators, landowners, and helping them to do the cool things through the gamification. And then 1 year passed and 3 years passed from now, and then we are here discussing about the crazy updates from the Sandbox. And I remember 3 years ago how early we were in this field, and now we are having Loretta and Seb with us today to be discussing and showing our listeners most of the updates, what's happening on this platform.
Yep. So in addition to being a co-host here on Beyond Pixels, I'm also the founder and CEO of Web3 and Metaverse Marketing Network. And I'm proud to say that both The Sandbox and Smobler Studios are included as two of our top 100 metaverse marketing services.
Wow.
So congratulations for that. But why don't we start, Loretta? Why don't you go ahead and give us a bit of your background? I was going to kind of wait till Seb showed up, but let's go ahead and get started with you. Give us a little bit of your background so that our audience will know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thank you so much for this, Dan and Nodo, and congratulations on coming this far, and for putting the show together. I mean, this is really about community building and about content creation, as we all say. So my background, born and raised in Singapore, and I'm now dialing in. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. Thank you so much. So I'm actually dialing in from Hawaii, which is home now since about 10 years ago, but born and raised in Singapore, a very different sort of island. I then went to London to read my master's and then got my PhD in UCLA, and then decided that academia is not for me. I remember asking my professor, and he was like, Loretta, you've got so much spirit, you should just go out to industry. You can always come back to academia, but it'd be harder to start, becoming an entrepreneur later. And I'm so glad I took his advice. So my whole family has always been in the arts and media, so that impacts why I believe so much in content creation and what we're doing together, which I will share in a while. But long story short, always in the media, set up a creative agency together with my other brother. So we designed and built physical stores, brick and mortar stores, and then I did the brand storytelling, the creative marketing, and also ventured into book writing, publishing, but always a traditional Web2 sort of media. And so I think fast forward to hi Sebastien. And so I'm just giving introduction to me, and then it's know all about me, and then we'll pass on the baton to you. So then fast forward to when I moved to Hawaii, just out of clear blue sky, it was a dream, and I thought that's what I really want to do, to be able to move to Hawaii, one of those pipe dreams, and I made it happen. And I thought I was going to be living my best life, going back to education and serving the underrepresented with Native Hawaiian communities, the incarcerated, and women and youth. And then, of course, in 2020, the pandemic happened, which I think changed many people's trajectories of their lives. And one of my ex-staff called me, and this is a story that I've often always told, which is our foundational story. And so I'll just give that quick background here. So my ex-staff called me. He was down to his last $70, no job. And he said, is there anything we can do? And he had then sort of ventured into the world of the open metaverse, thanks to Sebastien, and started educating me on the world of like blockchain and non-fungible tokens. And I think the key was that we saw a possibility of being able to tell great stories and bring brands, IPs, and communities onto the open metaverse. And I think that what is key is that as a founder, because I've always been entrepreneurial, but I didn't set out Smobler as to be what it is today. It was just a project to help a friend, and so our foundations are very different. So what I really intended to do was to bring my cadre of momtrepreneurs, solopreneurs, LGBTQIA friends, friends who had really lost their jobs, and I thought, how can I create job opportunities for them? And that was really the intention. But today, in hindsight, that was one of the best decisions we ever made, because today we're really talking about the movement from going from traditional media, which is the industry that I'm familiar with, to an attention economy, to an intentional economy, to even like today the creators economy and the creators platform. And so that really is our trajectory. And with that, I think it's probably wise for me to pass on the baton to Sebastien, who is leading the charge in creating the creator economy. So Sebastien.
Yeah, Sebastien, thanks for joining us. And before we go to the short intro, would say that Sebastien always was next to us, when we were doing these things in Sandbox, always supportive to many creators, studios, and landowners. And I'm very happy, I met him personally last year at the Consensus, actually in April, and 1 year passed, and now we're having him and Loretta on our show discussing most of the updates Sandbox gone through during this past year. And Seb, if you can give us quick introduction, I'm sure many people already know you, but then we will be jumping on the official part of the show.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. It's great to be today on this stream and be surrounded by creators. They are the core of the community and why we work to build Sandbox. So it's really exciting. In a few words, what is a sandbox? It's essentially a 3D virtual world where anyone can make 3D assets using voxel, sort of like digital Legos, as well as a no-code game maker, and then publish those experiences on the virtual land that they own to enable others to access with an avatar that is this 3D character that becomes our digital identity. And as we're using blockchain technology and NFTs, those creators can truly own the content they make, or they earn as they play through, and monetize it by selling it on the marketplace of Sandbox or anywhere else. The content is interoperable. We've grown as one of the largest decentralized virtual world with over 5.7 million accounts around the world with a wallet, as well as 400 major brands and partners, and a fantastic ecosystem of creators, including 220 trusted partners and studios, which Smobler and MetaView are part of.
Amazing.
So we're seeing big into a little teaser that make you want to explore the metaverse and what is this space. It's a vibrant space where 24/7 there's a lot of social activities and a lot of brands and IPs. Maybe you can recognize some of them, like Snoop Dogg, The Walking Dead. We're going to see Paris Hilton and Care Bears and a little Smurf as well. So those are some of the popular IPs that you cross, and you can also co-create.
All right, very, very cool. So appreciate the intro, and that was a neat video. Brings back a lot of memories to me, especially Snoop Dogg and his Snoop Palace or whatever that was. Yeah, but over the last couple of our Beyond Pixels shows, we've been really focused mostly on brands, marketers, creators who are in the Roblox and Fortnite space. And so what I really like to kind of understand from you, and this could either be you, Seb, or Loretta, is for brands who are already doing activations in Roblox and Fortnite, why should they also be wanting to consider to do something in the sandbox as well?
I think I'll jump in first because then Seb can flesh out in greater detail. I think one of the reasons, because I've already shared that my background was I actually was like as traditional Web2 as it gets, right? Because I ran a creative agency, and I feel like I was very privileged to have been able to be on television, to be on radio, and to have, like, in hindsight, be able to be in like these walled gardens because I was able to be part of broadcast media in a way that, you know, today, if you think about it, there's so many social media influencers. I mean, today everyone is a platform, and they have the ability, they have the tools at hand, at their fingertips to become a platform. So in hindsight, I had built my career on traditional media, having been given access to these walled gardens, and then using that as a tool to then broadcast the stories, the lives, you know, through my books, through my radio, through television, of stories and lives of other individuals that don't really get their stories heard. But I think today, because of the blockchain technology, because obviously we're going to be seeing like generative AI, we're going to be seeing a lot of these tools now that are enablers that you don't more. Right? I mean, today, one of the jokes that I used to always say was that now I'm finally relevant again because I felt like I didn't code, I didn't go to computer school. But today, you don't need all of that. Like, simply with the ability to just communicate and put in a prompt, you are able to like generate art. And the point is, the barriers to creativity and creation is so low now. And so one of the reasons why we jumped in is because, one, I saw that that was going to be the foundation and the future. Many folks are still skeptical, but then I can tell you, having been in the media industry, this is definitely the steady beat. Like, that is one of the reasons why even the National Television Corporation of Singapore has made us their metaverse partners, because they recognize that they're the biggest broadcast agency in Singapore, but they recognize too that they need to come into the metaverse, because today it's all about content creation and it's about engagement, active engagement with community, not just click-through rates. And so we know that this is an evolution that is steadily happening. And so that is also why we're committed to building on the sandbox and platforms that champion co-creation and coalition of creators without the need to have permission or to be anointed in order to gain access. Sebastien?
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, it's always great to hear from the mouth of creators and like builders and agencies like Smobler on like why they choose Sandbox. And I think like it's really important, this meaning that's like it's being carried over through that, and like the fact that we are breaking a lot of barriers by being more inclusive and giving the chance to like other brands to become more attractive and engaging. I think it's really it's part of like why Sandbox versus Fortnite or Roblox is essentially the choice of like Web3 as empowering creators, empowering your community to become a voice and to own their data and to own like their identity and their digital assets and participate in this new revolution. It's a statement on one side, like you care about like the notion of ownership and privacy. It's also a statement that you want to free yourself from like those centralized closed walled garden ecosystem that you're contributing to grow by bringing your own brand, paying to drive users or to drive attention and reach, while like these are essentially your own community. And ultimately you contribute to grow those platforms, social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and so on. They collect the data of the users you bring to target them with advertising, and you cannot reach out to them anymore afterward unless you pay the platform. You don't have a strong link or way to contact them because you don't have their email address or a way to send them communication as well. So essentially you're losing touch with who your core audience is. So that's one important thing. The second is like brands are joining Sandbox as well, because even though Sandbox is not as big as Fortnite or Roblox in terms of audience, like we don't have 100 million daily active users yet, but we have, first of all, a much more adult audience versus Roblox. The majority of audience in Roblox is like teenagers, 13 more or less, kids. and it's very concentrated in the US at the moment. Whereas on Sandbox, the audience is essentially 18 to 45. It's widely distributed, so brands love the idea like they can reach a global audience: 35% Asia, 30% Europe, 20% US, and 20% rest of the world. And that audience is extremely engaged. Like they spend an average of 30 minutes to 60 minutes within a world, which is a lot of attention time. And in today's world, like we're all competing for user attention. Most of the platform can like make their users scroll within like social feed and like get them to addicted, but spend like 10 seconds per post. In Sandbox, you have the whole attention for 30 minutes. You can tell your story, tell your brand value, share more about your universe, let them explore, take their own pace, and then engage them, reward them. So actually, also the fact that you can give something of value to your audience by creating like a very imaginative and social and engaging space allows you to reward them. 97% of the users who enter an experience in Sandbox complete all the quests for a reward as well, which is a great way then to after like have have them like their first digital asset, their first NFT, and re-engage them eventually through like an activation, bringing them to your brick and mortar shop or giving them something to claim afterwards, and building a longer journey where you are now a link to that user. So basically, by choosing Sandbox and Web3, you target global audience, adult, and you rebuild your connection with your audience. So you're actually saving money for the future versus like diverting your money in advertisement.
Oh, that's amazing answer, Seb. Thanks a lot. And kind of follow-up question to you will be about like, so brands who are integrating in Roblox or Roblox or Fortnite, especially Roblox, they are doing lots of strategies like UGC item launch, which we call wearables and digital collectibles in the Web3 space. And then some brands are also actively creating communities in the Roblox and then basically doing some monetization and stuff. So how it's different in Sandbox, right? So we have lots of like games in Sandbox done from many amazing creators where you have different play to earn functionalities or giving rewards in terms of like NFTs. So how brands can be monetizing in the Sandbox besides like doing the integration and marketing activities, right? Maybe you can bring us a couple of the examples, which will be easier for our listeners to understand.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to say that like it's still very early days for monetization in the metaverse. Like we are first to build the habits of users coming and coming back and create and enjoying a different format of entertainment that they don't find on other platforms before monetizing. Because the truth is, like monetization only works when you have million and hundred of million of users. When you convert a tiny percentage, 1% or less, of those users to spend. However, we've seen various strategies that's emerging and start to work for various brands. Some of them, like they are offering physical rewards through the ownership of NFTs. For example, right now we have a campaign with Amore Pacific and Innisfree, which is like a cosmetic brand group from Korea, very popular in Asia. And by owning a character NFT in Sandbox that you can use for playing, you also enter a raffle to win a free flight ticket for a trip to $3,000 around the world. We had a sport brand from Thailand that they also enabled people to own an NFT and they could claim a signed jersey from their favorite team. So this fact that you can have like both, usually like the physical and the digital reward, has been one of the most engaging ways so far to drive them more sales, specifically for the brand who have like an existing brick physical presence. For the digital only brand and celebrities and artists, it's a little bit different. Some of them are able to gate access to their experience to unveil exclusive content. So ownership of an NFT gives you access to all that. And ultimately, what one of the most successful strategy is launching an avatar collection in Sandbox. We have 19 partners who introduce a collection of between 2,000 to 10,000 unique avatars as an NFT, which each one of them has a different aesthetic appearance and also like set of like emote, so dance animation and other body animation. You use it as your digital express like your belonging to the community. You play with them, explore metaverse, you can earn during, and you can keep using it afterward. Steve Aoki, Snoop Dogg, Paris Hilton, the Rabbits, Care Bears, they are some of the brands that launch successful collection and earn 6 to 7 figure of revenue by introducing it.
That's amazing news, right? And then very quickly want to add that even like we at the MetaView ourselves, Dan and me, we tried partnering up with one of the creators, Meta Clubber, which is amazing digital club in the Sandbox for the month of February, which is a month of love, 14th of February, and then we did the activation, like people were coming, dancing. They should find like our my avatar actually hiding somewhere dancing. It was so fun experience. Like I'm kind of like from my side will be like telling every interesting person like Sandbox is actually the best way to start your like journey in this space. It's so engaging, fun, and like enjoyable at the same time, right? And so many strategies you can use. So thanks, Seb. Loretta, would you add?
Yeah, if I could just jump in and sort of add that as well. And I think that the key is, really having that ownership, right? Because when you have ownership, then you have skin in the game, and you're then able to want to create other business models and other sorts of activation. So to jump on what we've been able to create with the Sandbox and the Sandbox community was that, again, going back to our origins, right? Because we knew that our niche, I'm not a Web3 person, right? So every day I'm learning from Sebastien, I'm learning from our community, I'm learning from all of you every single day, and from the DGens that we have in our team now. But we realized that because this is such a nascent space, what's really important is for us to drive mass adoption. So I've turned my weakness into a strength, and that because I was from a traditional Web2 space, I worked B2B, I worked B2G, I worked with governments, and I worked with schools, and I worked with agencies, and I worked with brick and mortar IPs because I designed and built retail stores. So the idea was to then use that to see how we could drive mass adoption into this space. And to Seb's point, at the start, we're not going to have mass adoption right away, but it's really important to make it accessible. So much so that even if you don't understand blockchain, you don't understand non-fungible tokens, it doesn't matter because the technology should fade into the background. What's really important is the engagement. So to that example, for example, we've launched Herstory on International Women's Day. And what it is was that we used the no-code game maker, and we got our trainers to go into schools. And, with the help of our charity organizations, we went and teach girls how to voxel. Because my joke is, why wait for your boyfriend to buy you an MS bag where you can make it yourself and go sell it, right? And get creative with it. It's funny, but it really is a way to get, young people to start thinking about, it's not just about having e-commerce, but it's about being able to create digital assets, understand ownership, and then cultivate that sense of financial literacy, even at a young age, through fun, and then, put them on the path towards economic empowerment. So that's under our rubric of like our metaverse for good. So that's one. The other is we've partnered with SG Enable, which is the leading disability agency in Singapore, to then begin to empower differently able artists to be able to own their content. And not just that, when you own your content, when you feel like you're being compensated for your craft, your creativity, then you have a sense of self-esteem and that you feel like you are gainfully participating in an economy. And so we've created a program for them where we're able to, create ally path, and we would feature their artworks and their content onto the platform, but also create real world engagement. So it's like a circular economy, and it adds upon itself, and it really creates economies of scale. And really what we want to create is the network effect, which I think is really important. And the final thing, if you just allow me, is that we also brought the entire kingdom of Bhutan onto the metaverse. Wow. So again, people would say, where is Bhutan, right? But I think the point is that it is such an enlightened state between two big countries, between China and India, often overlooked, but they understand the power of being able to be connected to Web3 and utilizing the powers of what the blockchain can bring. So they have engaged us, because I've been a consultant for the government for 15 years, to then say, okay, we start by baby steps. We create a capacity capability program by empowering Bhutanese, and we had to have a nationwide campaign to attract all these young Bhutanese to join the contest. And there were so many people that wanted to join. And so we created these boot camps. We had our team, reach out to them, and then they were teaching them, Game Maker and Vox Edit. And it was so fun. And, we're really proud to say that we have launched Bhutanverse. And because of that, now we're able to onboard We're looking into onboarding SMEs and businesses onto the platform, and we're actually onto a really exciting project that I could only announce later on. But my point is, we've created the foundations for people to begin to understand digital asset ownership creation, and that leads to composability, that leads to even more economic opportunity and creativity. So we're really, just excited to be part of this like burgeoning ecosystem that can really impact change.
And it's so cool promotion for the countries also, right? Even especially like small countries, they can be having global outreach right away, and then people experience
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's amazing
Thanks for
that
sharing.
it's being mentioned. Loretta has really been pushing new frontiers to help grow and develop the sandbox. So it's also been she's really at the forefront of like how and why having an ecosystem decentralized of like partners is helping the metaverse to grow. Like the sandbox as a platform by itself will not have the time, the resource, or the network to expand in some part of Singapore or some part of like new countries and territories. But thanks to like really this effort and the energy, the passion and network of the founders in our ecosystem, they are benefiting. Like they are onboarding new projects, new brands, new countries, new region of the world, and they help to spread and grow the metaverse. So a big kudos here to Loretta and all her team as well for her work. And that actually made me think that one more reason of like why would brands engage in the metaverse. We have this idea as well, like there should be a greater purpose of like why to launch an activation in the metaverse. We call it like the metaverse for good. You want actually to carry a positive message, educating your users, making them learn new skills. So all the user generated content part, creative part is essential. So your audience can gain new skills by participating in contests and engaging. It's fun and it's like great for the personal learning and the brand, but also like driving an impact in terms of like inclusivity into like diversity and also like environmental support is essential. And that's why like we have many brands that support charities through their activation. Recently we had a campaign called Play to Give with the Red Cross, where more users play the Red Cross experience, the larger the prize pool will be given to them. We have one experience coming up where like a Food Angel Association in Hong Kong will be distributing more meals as the people complete and play with the brand experience. Or we have one with WeForest right now. The more people buy those virtual trees, the more real trees are being planted, and also proceeds is being given to a village in Africa of that experience. Full experiences and players and audiences, and I think metaverse is a great way to bring that meaning together and feel like we are not just entertaining ourselves, but we are also doing a good impact. Why Sandbox is actually better than Fortnite in that sense. Fortnite tells you how to shoot at people and to fight with each other. I don't think these are necessarily great positive value to bring, and we are all looking at doing more things, educating, socializing, building those valuable and positive skills to build a better world, both in the physical and the virtual side.
Oh, amazing.
No, I mean, I totally get that. And I think also another differentiation when we're looking at like Roblox, Fortnite, and the Sandbox would then be the age of the people who are participating. Obviously, Roblox and Fortnite being, more of a Gen Z, Gen A, where the Sandbox, you can target an older audience. And do a lot more interesting things to that older audience, which I think, from a creative standpoint, makes things much more interesting. If your target audience is older, but there was an announcement made. I think it was like about a month or so ago, Seb, where Forbes is doing an activation in the Sandbox, and to me, this is quite exciting to see a brand like Forbes making the decision to enter the Sandbox. And I'd love to hear a little bit. Like I've been doing some reading. It's hard to find very much in terms of details, but as much as you're able to divulge, I'd love to hear more about that.
Yes,
Okay,
so the case of Forbes is very interesting. Actually, indeed, launching an experience in a sandbox related to the Forbes 30, celebrating the Forbes 30 under 30, and like exhibiting like the individuals, as well as creating a space for that in Web3 was the first step, but it's been very successful. And from there, they've been pursuing their journey toward like launching the Forbes Web3 brand. They selected very few ambassadors. They announced acquiring a land and permanently using this space forever for activation. And I was in Dubai. They also had a physical event where they connected many cities both from Web2 and Web3 as part of that journey. So I think it's important. It shows like media can find success developing a presence in Web3 and being closer to their new audiences, being closer to the innovator and entrepreneur that drive like the space forward as well. And ultimately, those brands, those traditional media can reinvent themselves in a way that leads toward like more ownership of the content, the stories, the archive that they have, like thinking about South China Morning Post that joined Sandbox as another media as well and use their archive to bring them to life in Sandbox.
Wow. Very interesting.
We have
it's so exciting
as well. Yeah, it's very exciting.
And then especially like when the traditional media is trying to enter the space, especially Web3 gaming platforms, because like even like last week we heard the news that BBC entering the Roblox, having their dedicated, and then BBC also is very traditional media corporation, right? And then having Force in Sandbox, it means a lot. And I wanted to like go back to Loretta because she was doing some amazing activations in Sandbox. She has already shared with us Bhutan case, which is very unique itself. And I wanted to ask, what are some other work you have done in Sandbox you are most proud of? And maybe you can share at least two of them with us, besides the Bhutan.
I will say the one that my team is really excited about is Everest. So Everest was really launched last year because I think it was the anniversary of the first ascent of Everest, and it was really personal for me because I have really bad osteoarthritis, and you know I spent so much time in the Himalayas, but now I can't go up mountains, and I joke and say that I can have no problems going up, but I have problems coming down. So my life goal is to always keep going up, right? But I mean, jokes aside, I think it really was a project that started from the Game Makers Fund. And it was an idea that really resonated with me and the team because it was about creating experiences for folks who may never have the ability to be able to scale a mountain, right? So there is one. But I think tying to what I think Seb was talking about was that what our team, or at least for me, I mean, if you look at me, I'm a female founder. I have my education background. It's always about wanting to create a metaverse for good. So I challenged my team to say, well, of course, I know they want to create we have to create very sticky games, but I also wanted to challenge them to say, how do we, create narratives of like sustainability and climate change and all of that. So what we've been able to do is to bring on ambassadors like Kenton Cool, and we're going to be bringing on another ambassador, which we'll announce soon. As well as be able to weave in stories of like climate change and sustainability and talking about all the trash that we leave behind when we're climbing mountains. And we talk about the Sherpa people. So the point is we're able to create a sticky game that is fun, that is engaging, but it's also able to bring communities together while telling a great narrative about why climate change and environmental preservation is real. So one of the best things about it is that we're able to use games and gamification to get people to think about things that really matter. So that's something that really matters to me. And of course, that's for me, the heart of the artist and the educator talking. But my team is super excited because with Everest, we've now been able to build a community, and that has in turn led us to develop our own DApp. So I think we just had a like successful drop of our like NFT backpack giveaways. So that's something super exciting for the team and the community as well. And that in itself has led to other collaborations, which I'll share towards the end of the show. So that's Everest. I think the other one that we're really proud of.
Can I interject for so Loretta and I both have. I lived in Singapore for a while, and Loretta has a obviously being from Singapore, we have that kind of connection. So obviously, MediaCorp is huge in Singapore. Yeah. Could you kind of like touch base on that one? Cool.
Yeah, I have to say this was really such a a really proud moment for our team to be able to actually bring the entire television station, because they are the biggest broadcast in Singapore and really the region, right? It's won regional awards, right? It produces programs like Channel News Asia and all of that. So for them to sort of work with us as their media partner was huge. So basically, tying into why we think that this space is important. One, so this was literally a project that started for New Year's Eve. If you think about New Year's Eve, like it's kind of like the ball drop at Times Square, where you could only do it once because it's time sensitive and it's incredibly cost prohibitive, right? It costs a lot of money to be able to release fireworks and dragons and have drones. And so to set it in context, the year-end party was to welcome, obviously, the Year of the Dragon at the end of 2023, and it was going to be a one-night-only party. But then we created that idea for them that you could actually have the celebration and the revelers sort of start partying 1 month before, and you can even extend the engagement after that. So one, you're able to then engage your audiences for much longer. You're also then able to engage with the celebrities a lot closer and more intimately. And not just that, you're also, we created a game as a multiplayer game, because if you think about attending an event or fireworks, you're sort of sitting there watching, standing, taking photos. It's very passive and you can only do it once. But by turning into a multiplayer game, we then encourage all the team members and committee members to sort of work hard, play hard, and to be able to like ignite fireworks, like and to be able to release the dragon night after night when they play the game together. So there's a sense of like connective and collective energy and cohesion, and the celebration goes on for more than just a day. And the Media Corp is obviously incredibly happy, and to that we have to give thanks to our partners as well at the Sandbox, because they worked really hard with us too to talk about really creating B2B and economies of scale and a network effect. We were able to jointly sort of also use their own outreach in social media, Sebastian's own outreach in social media, their Twitter following or X following, their Medium. And so together we had a very cogent and strategic marketing that not just targeted the Web2 broadcast media audience, but really we even partnered with like King of Crypto, we partnered with Clay Nation, we partnered with Meta Futura and created activations in the Web3 space as well. So Media Corp is incredibly happy because they had no idea about this Web3 space. And so now they have following and they have now a community in that space too. So I would think that that is an example of a really successful sort of collaboration that started small, but its heart was in the right place because we had our eye like very keenly on the future and how we could collaborate together to bring both Web2 and Web3 communities together. So thank you for asking.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then Seb has to be leaving very quickly, and I would love to give him last question since we are going to the end, and we will have more questions to you, Loretta. Like Seb, if you can share with a couple words, what's next coming in the Sandbox and how you will be managing to get more players into the Sandbox. And then later on, I will be asking about the Game Makers Fund to Loretta, because she mentioned it and it's amazing news for the creators. So Seb, if you can give us like before you go, what we're gonna be waiting for the Sandbox to come in this year would be nice. If you are with us. Okay.
Seb, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I had to drop from the taxi.
All
right.
So,
yeah, on the streets, walking in the
Seb
streets.
is a man on the go. We never know where he's going to be when we talk to him.
All right. Yeah, things have been pushed a little bit. All right. So yes, a lot of things are coming this year at the Sandbox. I think like the first thing I want to highlight is like our big focus is really around the creator this year. Like we said, like 2024 is going to be the year of the creator for the Sandbox, and we're really excited. We just passed a major milestone. 1,000 user-generated content experiences published and live on the map since we opened it for the first time last October at our first Creator Day in Hong Kong. So that really shows that we like the metaverse is transforming itself progressively, moving like from being like just brand and limited amount of content to a lot more of content to explore, which allows you to spend more time to find more diverse content, etc. We also just released a major update of our creation tools to keep supporting like the imagination of those creators and allow them to make more diverse content, experience game, fun things in multiplayer, and explore new forms of entertainment. And we drive that creativity by organizing game jams on one side, like involving some of the top brands to sponsor with price and rewards like the creation, and the best are not only getting a free land and sand, but also featured on their experiences. A builder challenge that just concluded after 10 weeks, where we distributed 1.5 million sand in rewards to the creator who publish on their land. And that means that some of the top creators will earn a six-figure revenue this year already. That's quite exciting. That's the first big milestone. And from the creator, from more content, from the fact that the product keeps improving and now it takes less than 30 seconds to move from one experience to another, from the fact that we're going in beta this year, we'll open our DAO. I might not explain everything on today's call because I could unfold a lot there. But that's a topic for one other stream. And the fact that we'll launch a season 4, I think we'll drive more players after. And next year we'll open the sandbox in the public version, 2025, and also have the mobile. And that from that moment, I think audience will start to scale. So focus on creator, great content, great diverse, fun experiences, and the rest will come.
Oh, that's amazing, and I love how Sandbox is supporting the creators, right? So I had the pleasure working with so many, and then yeah, that's amazing, like building a community. And I'm also interested to see if Roblox or Fortnite developers will be also migrating or same time simultaneously doing the games in the Sandbox, because Sandbox Game Maker is so easy to do. Like even without too much knowledge, you can create these small games and play like in Roblox, right? So what do you think, Sebastien? Do you guys like target any creators on Roblox and Fortnite to be joining Sandbox or not?
I think it's an interesting user acquisition strategy. I heard a few times that people are exploring, indeed, like create a demo content or free game on Roblox and then offer them a first NFT as reward that they can use in Sandbox. We haven't tried ourselves, so like the idea is open in the air, and I would love to see how anyone would execute it.
Well, yeah,
And
it will be interesting to see.
Between those worlds.
Yeah, this bridge will be very interesting because, like, yeah, Gen Alpha and Gen Z are so good, like creating themselves, like lots of different. That's like we are entering the UGC era, right? So, creators era. So, yeah. So, then, do you have any questions to Seb before he leaves? I know, Sebastien, you are shorting the time.
I guess if there was one question, it would be, what is your overall, and this is such a really difficult question in the space that we're in, but if you had to project, say 5 years, which is like a century in this space, but it's like, if you had to say 5 years from now, where will the Sandbox be and what will it be doing? How would you define that?
Well, the first thing is like when I look at how Sandbox was like 2 years ago or even 1 year ago, and today I already see a great progress forward. So it's quite exciting to see like how we've enabled like much better graphic, more fun, the more powerful and stable platform for the creators. We open the marketplace. We keep developing the map, which like brings a lot of culture together by developing like new neighborhoods, bringing top brands and region of the world. I think like in 5 years, Sandbox being available across more platforms, having a lot, not thousand, but 10 of thousand, 100 of thousand experience to explore, having a lot more social feature and people using their digital identity, not just to walk with them or play with them, but maybe eventually like connect, chat, talk, play together, dance together, attend like various content. It will be a full transformation and a much closer realization of like the vision we have of the metaverse than what it is today. Today it's very still gaming focus, even if like we are touching to various aspects of culture. But like technology evolves fast and the creativity of our community is limitless. So let's see.
That's
yeah. Very much looking forward to that. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah, that's how we call it then at the end of the day, social gaming platforms, because like people like it's happening already on Roblox, right? So basically people getting to know each other. It's globally connected community. And then very quick question to Loretta, like this question will be very much interested to our listeners, like when doing the activations in Sandbox, which kind of data analytics you can get out of it, how you can measure success of the activations, right? So this is maybe Loretta, since you have done many things, you can be answering the questions. And Seb, if you have to go, we would love to thank you a lot. Or you can like wait till the show will be ending. So yeah, up to you.
Are you going to stay, Seb, or are you going to log
I'll
off?
stay. It's just I need to walk in the street to get into a desk.
Oh, okay. Cool.
You have that really cool background. Well, not
Yes,
anymore. But
yes,
you've got this really neat background, so we don't know whether you're walking, sitting, or whatever. So all good. So
Loretta,
back to you.
Back to
I think what's
you.
really
Yes.
Yeah, I think for us, what's really important is also because this industry that we're co-creating together is so new. But let me just take it back a little bit, just set it in context. I think setting context is really important because we're not in like a traditional agency or traditional media play where it's all about the media buy, it's all about the media reach, it's all about conversion rates right away. I think when we're so early in a space, it's really important to always contextualize, and that's something that I often always do with all our clients as well, right? And one of the things that I often always say is that today, like technology moves so fast, right? You're seeing the conflation of energy storage, multi-omic sequencing, robotics, like blockchain, AI, all these things are making us work faster. Hopefully this will translate into more discretionary income, more discretionary time. But the fact is that fundamentally as human beings, the one thing that I like to argue that probably won't change, hopefully, is that we all like to have fun, right? When you have more discretionary income, when you have more discretionary time, hopefully you want to put that to better use, unless we're kind of crazy around the room and we decide to become entrepreneurs, right? Which we just really enjoy pain and working a lot harder. But in general, with the developments in technology, what's important to recognize is that fundamentally, people will often always want to have more fun, more pleasure, be able to develop more of lifestyle, be able to do more of the things that they like. And so one of the things that we often always try and remind our partners is that this is a long-term investment, that if we're looking at it for just right here, right now, and that what you want is early conversion rates, you want really fast click-through rates, you want really fast conversions, then I will often always suggest it has to be a combination of omni-channel marketing and media. It would be completely unfair to go to a toddler and say, I want you to give me 4 million conversion rates, like right away. Like it'd be completely unfair of me to go to Sebastien and the Sandbox and say, I need to demand this of your platform right now, because it fundamentally is a commitment towards a longer term vision of wanting to co-create together, because we believe in the creator economy, and that media agencies, media partners, IPs believe that this is a space they want to get into early. So I think setting those contexts are important. Once we have that understanding, then with our partners, we'll say, okay, what can we do to the best of our abilities to make this happen? So I'll give the example of MediaCorp, because they are a media agency, so they really know what they're doing, right? This is their bread and butter, right? So with them, they're very targeted because they've primarily focused on Singapore and Asia. They were like, this is the region that we're looking into. And so we were able to, together with the Sandbox, create a campaign which gave them almost a $250,000 exposure, which is huge for them, because if you think about it, Singapore only has a country for about like 5 million people. So that's huge for them, right? One. And two, we were able to distribute over $20,000 worth of rewards for them. I think we had close to 20,000 quests completed, and over, I think, I can't really remember the figures, but MediaCorp was so happy about it. They actually literally created a trailer and turned all those statistics into a trailer that they put on broadcast media to say, why partner with MediaCorp, right? Because we're able to do this in the metaverse. So sure. I think it's really important to set expectations, because I know there are a lot of media agencies and media partners watching, that I think fundamentally we need to recognize that it has to be a longer term play, and to be able to be very honest, transparent with your partners to say, this is an investment in the future. You're going to get the biggest generation, Gen Zs. They are the biggest population now, running around the earth, right? And that it is fundamental to get their attention, because today a lot of the decision makers are unfortunately baby boomers, folks like me, or even worse, right, running for presidents as geriatrics and in the silent generation. But the point is, we do need to have a transfer of power, a transfer intellectual capital into the hands of the younger generation. And so I think it is a longer term investment that we often always urge our partners to like be focused on.
No, that's good. And I guess I have a couple of follow-up questions. So it's like, okay, which one first? So
But maybe Seb first, because he has to leave, right? And we have to end. Yeah.
I think Seb's gone, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Loretta, we have you now.
Here.
Oh, he's here.
Hello.
He's
This
here.
show is so unique. Seb is here.
Yes, he's there. He's
All right.
invisible man. He's there. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I guess my question would be, so with MediaCorp, because it seemed like that was like a New Year's kind of a promotion, but if you're doing activations that are more long term, what are your strategies to kind of like keep your audience involved in those experiences and games?
Thank you so much for asking. So a lot of it really has to be also very creative and very strategic, right? So for example, what we did was, I think I mentioned earlier that we involved the Web3 communities, right? We have game nights with, our partners at Clay Nation, King of Crypto. We worked together with the Sandbox, but we also extended it IRL in real life. We actually participated and worked with the Comic-Con. So we created real world activations. We now have a partner, Republic of Gamers, ROG. They are going to be our long-term strategic partners. So they'll sponsor every single one of our IRL events, whether it's in Singapore or whether it's in America, right? We'll be using all of their hardware, which actually works really well with the games that we have on the Sandbox. So by that, we also bring in other partners, other collaborations. We work with the schools, we work with the institutes of higher learning, because then we get real life feedback. The students feel incorporated, listened to, they feel they're part, the whole idea of being content creators, they feel like they're interpolated and part of the process, and then they see their suggestions being incorporated in real time. So I think these are all the things that we do to not just get them to just play the game, but to feel like they are part of a platform and part of a community. And so these are the things that we're committed to doing. And of course, now we're committed to also like extending the success and the case studies of what we've done, and then using MediaCorp as a broadcast media to then broadcast these success stories, right? And now we have more brands coming on board to work with us.
Sure. And then a very quick question, if Seb is listening, kind of maybe it will be the last one. Basically, the first question is like, if the brand's looking to start the Sandbox strategy, right? Or agencies, like how they should start, like how they can find the agencies working with or builders working with Sandbox. And the second question to the Seb is that, so in the Roblox side, basically, you need to update the game or branded activation almost every 2 weeks to keep the players going in. And then how often you need to do this kind of updates. It's very important, like information, nobody talks about it, because we talk that, okay, we need this brand to open up the experience in the Sandbox or in Roblox, but nobody really tells what happens next, right? So, okay, we open the experience, what's the next? How often we should update it? And yeah, so if you can give us some of the info, you've seen many experiences in Sandbox, and would be interesting for our listeners to know.
So that's very relevant. Like the first thing, like you should consider as a brand, or when either directly or working with one of our trusted certified partners, is like really what is the motivation to work behind to go to the metaverse? Is it just like for the marketing reason, because you want to reconnect with your audience, because you want to build a new experience and offer something more immersive and social? Is it to drive more engagement? Is it to reach to new markets and new audiences? So clearly define your goals and set your expectation. How many audience are you going to reach, and users, etc. And then we build forward with the marketing agency, the builder, or Sandbox platform to help you achieve on those goals. And it's a process that takes time. Like any major project, like entering the metaverse is not something you do in 2 days, but it's more like a refined strategy you define. And the building of the experience will probably take anywhere from 1 month to 3 months nowadays. And launching it, the marketing plan of the launch is essential. And afterward, like what you're going to do to keep engaging your audience is also part of it. We call it the live ops. Most of the time, it requires like to think through, like, okay, if I issue NFT, if I create an avatar collection, how do I keep engaging after the owner, the communities that own those assets, that become stakeholder of the success of that experience? And with Sandbox and with the agency, we create various activation. We allow the avatar holder to participate sometimes in physical IRL events, giving them like real perks and benefit, like attending physical concert, shows, getting special discount or VIP access, and so on. That's one way. The other way is, of course, like your avatar, whether if you buy an avatar from Snoop Dogg today, there's been like a 50 event over the past 2 years that you can still play with that avatar and earn rewards and collect, even if it's not the Snoop Dogg brand itself. So we really encourage like cross-pollination, cross-brand collaboration. And we are thinking long-term in terms of like how the digital asset that your community will buy do not become obsolete, but always have a utility in one or many use cases, both virtually and physically. Some of the music artists, often they do new airdrop of content for the fans who are present. They indeed do the VIP access to the partner day of the music concert. So it's really cool in that sense, like to think like the brands are engaging more over long term when they're entering Web3 and Sandbox than like they would do when they run a traditional marketing campaign on social media.
Nice, nice. Thanks a lot. And back to you, Dan. Kind of, we will be slowly wrapping up the show. It's always happens. Like it's so much interesting content. We always go over, over. It always happens.
But yeah, I guess the closing then would be from both of you, and Seb, we'll start with you. So, any major announcements? Anything immediately coming up that you would like to bring attention to?
The first main announcement has been like the fact that we just passed this milestone of 1,000 experiences live on the map. I think it's really exciting. It's showing the power of like the user-generated content in the metaverse. If you haven't played Sandbox today, I really encourage you to do so, because like it's really a different user experience. It loads way faster. It has a greater amount of characters. Some of them you can see behind me. You can play with. That's really cool. We just ship major product updates. All the key partnership, I'm holding a little bit the announcement, so nothing new.
Come on, please.
Coming up, but you have to wait a few more days or weeks. Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
as soon as that happens, let us know, and then we'll broadcast that to our community. So I'm sure they'll be interested. I know I am. So.
And then Loretta, any major update from your side as the last note?
Yeah, I think one that's currently happening is our Cobblend Austin Nova. We launched it during South by Southwest, where we brought the entire city of Austin into the metaverse, and our Nova Cup time trial competition has been extended. So we urge all of you to join us. It'll be live until April 29th, and you stand to win sand, obviously. Our Everest backpack claim has also been a real success, and we'll be unpacking our backpacks the first week of May. When is that? Is that next week? Yeah, in preparation for our release of Chapter 2. I know, right? We're in May. Like, how is that even possible? This is ridiculous. This also means that all our Everest climbers that recently got our free claim backpacks will get 2 more equipable NFTs for use in game. So it's exciting for all of our Everest fans out there. And we're also launching our DApp in June. So those are like the immediate things that I can think to share. But then we'll also be doing our live event Nova during Token 2049 in Singapore. So hopefully Sebastien and you folks at MetaView will be there to join us as well.
Cool.
Thank you both, Seb and Loretta, for joining us today. It was very exciting talk, and yeah, I'm sure we will be communicating again and coming up with major updates. And congratulate a whole Sandbox ecosystem and builders, my friends, and everybody for reaching this amazing milestone, 1,000+ creator games. I remember 3 years ago where we been, and now where is the Sandbox at this moment. So wish you all the success, and back to you then.
Yeah. It's like maybe a year from now we'll revisit and see where you're at a year from now. I think that will be exciting. But for our Beyond Pixels audience, definitely join us. Our next event will be May 23rd, same time as today, and we're finalizing the guests. So it'll definitely be exciting. But in addition, we're going to be announcing a new game-changing community that we're developing, and we're going to be doing that initially in LA. Nodo is now in LA, so we're getting together a lot more than we used to. And when we get together, the creativity just it's off the wall. So we've got some really good ideas based on our brainstorming in terms of the community that we're going to be developing. And so we'll be making that announcement on our next show on May 23rd. So definitely join us.
And then the last one, I cannot keep it secret because I'm very excited about this one. Like in June during the AWE conference, which is the largest XR, VR, and AR conference, it is celebrating 15 years of existing. And then we will be having first time ever live show happening during the conference. And everybody is invited. We will be in Los Angeles. We will be uniting all the game changers, brand creators, influencers, and community members into this first ever live event of the Beyond Pixel. So wait for the June, and yeah, very exciting. So I hope we will see each other soon.
All right.
Very cool. Let us know. We have an office in LA for Sandbox as well. We've been using it for like various association, movie premiere, and events that make the community. So let me know if you need any help here for finding a cool location.
Yeah, so we'll probably be definitely taking you up on that. I've been, I actually had been to your office for an event. Really cool space, and yeah, we would love to be doing a Beyond Pixels event from the Sandbox in LA. So yeah, we'll talk about that 100%. So anyway, Loretta, Sebastien, thank you so much for joining us today. And until our next show, Beyond Pixels.
Thank you, everyone, and see you in the metaverse.
See you in the metaverse.
Good morning, good evening. Thank you.